Welcome back to FM Jeeping. My name is Mark, and today we're going to do a quick overview on how I ran the brakes on my one-ton swap. So I'm back, testing out a new camera, trying it out, seeing how it's working out, and in the meantime while I was gone, I got a couple questions about how I ran the brakes on my one-ton swap, so I was just going to do a quick overview on how I did that. First and foremost, I got to clean off the hood, got a little something on there. So I could open it up and show you the master cylinder. Alright, so under the hood, let's start in the front and work our way back. So right here we have a 1998 to 2003 E3500 master cylinder. I'll post a link for this down below where I got it off Amazon. I got it relatively cheap. It fit pretty well. I did not have to modify any shaft from the booster in, or the brake shaft, or the little piston that goes inside here. I didn't modify anything. The only thing I did was bolt it right to my booster. Now, one thing to note: this is a 98. This has the bigger, stronger booster on it. From what I'm being told, I believe the early, we'll call it the first gen of the XJ there, the earlier versions had a slightly smaller, weaker booster. And I'll tell you, with this setup, it was kind of hard to put my hoops around it because it did pop out a little bit. But the Master has a little bit more capacity. It holds a lot of fluid. From the Master, I have these janky Nick copper lines with no proportioning valve. Now, if I was going to drive this thing on the road more, I probably would have kept, I was in fact going to put the proportioning valve on, but I ended up becoming a trailer queen, and I'm pretty happy with the brake lines grabbing the same front and rear because I'm not driving. The couple times I did drive this on the road, I was able to apply the brakes and lock the tires up really well. A little too much, actually. The rig got a little out of control. So it does stop pretty darn well with that. But like I said, no proportioning valve, and I got Nick copper lines because they're easy to manipulate, and they'll never rust. These go all the way down, if you can imagine, follows the inner part of the unibody and goes right to basically where the transmission crossmember will be. And let me clear out this mess, and I'll be right back. Getting out of the rig here, and as you can see, so I don't blind you, I gotta drop my my skid plate. So let me go ahead and drop that real quick. We're now laying underneath the rig. Here's my transfer case. This is the driver's side unibody on the inside. And I have a brake line that comes down off the firewall, rides along the floorboard, and then kind of soft turns into right here. What you can't see, because my head is in the way, is I welded a brake line retaining bracket onto the cross member, and then this is where I adapt my 3/16 Nick copper line into stainless steel -3 flex line. It's kind of hard to see, but that's right there. That goes to the front. We'll cover that in a second. And I did the same thing in the back. You can see right here. This line follows the unibody, goes up a little bit, and this is welded to the cross member as well, holding it nice and steady. And this is 3/16 into an adapter into a 3/0 flex line that goes to the rear, and we'll cover that in a second as well. So now we're back to the front. Here is the unibody, and this is the hard line that flexes around and gets adapted to a 3/0 stainless steel flex line. And as you can see right here, this is where it comes out. It's on it most of the time. It rides on top of the control arm. It's just twisted a little bit right now, and I did that to protect the line from anything that might pop up. And I use zip ties, and that is not probably the right way to do it. They do sell weld-on zip tie holders and brake line retention things. I just didn't do that. I probably will in the future. But yeah, I got basically one line all the way to the front. You can see it curve here. It comes back around, follows the axle, and then dumps to the top of the axle. And we'll go up front here in a second. But I basically did the same thing in the rear as well. So I went to the hard line. I dumped it into the flex line. And that flex line, as you can see, is riding on top of my driver's side upper control arm all the way to the back. But let's get let's check out the front axle real quick. So here we are on the driver's side wheel well. This is the upper control arm on the driver's side, and it goes all the way to the axle. Here's my line. It rides on the control arm to be protected, and then it kind of curls around, and then basically there's a T right here. I'll try to zoom in if I can, but yeah, so the line on the control arm feeds this T, and from the T there's one line that goes to the driver's side, and then one line going to the passenger side. All flex line, all 3/0. Now in hindsight, I think I might, if I ever run into a part where I have to basically repair a bunch of this, I might do hard line on the control arms, hard line from the T to a certain point on the axle, and then just run soft line from there to the caliper, because the soft line, it's easier to replace, because you know, you can't just walk into a store like at O'Reilly's or something and get 3/0 stainless steel line at like 43 inches and 42 inches and stuff like that. Let's go take a look at the driver's or the passenger side. Let's see if I can get a better picture of that T in there. Let's see here. So that's the T that splits it to the two front wheels. So yeah, that's kind of it. All right, we'll head to the back and I'll show you the back. All right, so now we're in the back. This is the rear brake line that goes from the cross member on top of the control arm all the way to the back here on the axle into this T. Now, the reason I did it like this, let me put the light down for a second. The reason I did it like this is because this T is above the diff. It's set back. It's pretty well protected. There's really not much that's gonna hit this. You know, the odds of hitting this are pretty low. I'm not saying it's not possible, but it's pretty low. And then what I did was I teed off to the passenger side, and then I teed off to the driver's side. Now, once again, in hindsight, what I might do if I ever rupture one of these lines is I might do a hard line all the way down and then do a soft line from like a spot on top of the axle to here and just run like a small rubber line. Once again, that just gives me the ability to do a quick repair, get, you know, soft line from O'Reilly's, Pep Boys, AutoZone, whatever, slap it in, bleed the brakes, and my weekend is still on. I'm not screwed for the entire weekend, because trying to find stainless steel 3/0 line off the shelf is not always easy. It's something you have to order. So that's going to do it for the brake overview video. I'm not saying it's 100% right way to do it. It's the way that worked for me. In hindsight, I might go back if I start breaking stuff and replacing some of the longer runs, maybe on the control arms and across the axle, with hard lines as things break. But I mean, until that happens, I'm just going to run the flex line. It's been working for me for like 3 years or so. So I thought I'd help some people out that might be stuck on what to do. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you got something out of it. And what I usually say, catch you on the next one.